For a clown named Giggles, you're not very funny.
You know, for a monster shaped like a man, you're not very scary.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Creative Businessmen. Please remember to like and subscribe. Today on the podcast, we have Jaysen Buterin. And Jaysen, if you want to go ahead and give an introduction to yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Okay. My name is Jaysen Buterin. I don't know where to look. I keep like looking at
Just look at us.
that guy, the
Look at
camera
them.
guy.
You can look at me.
Fair enough. Next. The hardest worker in the room. Jaysen Buterin. I am creative director of Mad Ones Films, a local film company. We've been around since about 2006. Done a lot of short films, and we most recently, this past year, have completed our first feature, which is called Giggles. I am lucky enough to be the writer and director of that. Mr. Jesse H. Knight, the brilliant boy over there, an executive producer, cinematographer extraordinaire, editor extraordinaire. But it's a feature film that we shot entirely in and around North Carolina, and it's something I'm very, very proud of because it sort of takes a modern horror trope and kind of gives it a bit of a twist with what we did with it. We can get into much more detail about that. But yeah, been making movies. I work for a university around town. I have a band called the Malamandos, which before the apocalypse hit, we had played with Southern culture on the skid, so we got to play some rock and roll before the world went.
Cool.
But yeah, so I've been a writer my whole life, written novels, columns, all sorts of stuff like that. I've had a lifelong love affair with words, so that took a twist into music journalism, entertainment journalism, and then sort of evolved into screenwriting and has put me in the position to be at where I'm at now.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, that's
Very
awesome.
cool. I know you have a lot of credits on IMDb. So
I do.
cool.
I've been lucky enough. Yeah, I said we've done a lot of short films, and then I've been lucky enough to be cast in a lot of other friends' works and stuff like that. So
It's awesome.
very
Yeah,
cool.
I was on looking and actually was checking out Giggles here literally last night and then again earlier. The way it ends, the way the trailer that I was watching ends, is awesome.
That would make a good trailer by itself.
Yeah,
just that last
I almost feel like,
scene.
Jesse, here's a tip, right? From somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about. But the last, like, maybe 10, 15 seconds of that trailer, that last part was just, that could be the trailer by itself. That could be a trailer, at least. It could be one of the trailers.
It's a really good moment, yeah.
Yeah, that moment, yeah, it was awesome.
yeah, we've got a couple of really good trailers. We've got like a 2-minute long one, and then we've got one that we cut for our distributors at Avail Entertainment, which they took to American Film Market and stuff like that, and have been showing it around. So
Nice.
Awesome.
yeah, we've got some amazing promotional materials and stuff like that for what I feel is truly movie magic.
Cool.
Do you guys already have some distribution set up for that, or?
We do. We were lucky enough to we actually secured distribution before we even shot the movie.
Nice.
With
Wow.
Avail Films out of California. We started a relationship with them, and then they've been very, very supportive. So they're kind of chomping at the bits. We're going through the last stages of post-production now and audio voodoo and all that kind of wizardry and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But as soon as it's ready to go, they're ready well. And then once the apocalypse lifts, they're ready to hit the ground running.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
cool. Yeah, I know you had some good cast members on there, too. I noticed Patrick Keenan on there.
Oh yeah, Pickles. You can never go wrong with Patrick G. Keenan. And you can still, well, if you're making trips out to the Harris Teeter for emergency supplies and whatnot, you might be able to see Pickles at the meat department. Because he was like the promotional meat cutout for, I think, like Sam the Meat Man.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, we had a whole thing. We were running around to a bunch of different teeters. Like everyone was getting their picture taken with Patrick. So it was pretty cool. But no, he's an amazingly talented fellow. But yeah, the entire cast, I mean, we got insanely lucky. Michael Ray Williams, who's our male lead, he's my brother, and I've been in love with that boy for years. Because no matter if it's film, if it's live theater, if it's stage, I mean, anything that boy does is brilliant. And then to be able to finally to work with Ellie Church, I'd worked with her on a short film a couple of years back called Born Again, which was a horror comedy that was just brilliant. It won everything, everywhere, and rightfully so. But I got to work with her, and then the celebrity cameos we had in there was just sort of, for a kid who grew up in the backwoods of the back roads of Missouri in the 80s, and my two best friends were the county library and the local video store. To grow up watching people like Felissa Rose and Vernon Wells and Judith O'Day, I mean, dude, that was how I grew up. And then to be able to have those people, those friends of mine, willingly and want to, to have an active presence in the movie was just like I said, a dream come true.
That's cool.
And my worst nightmare at the same time because I was surrounded by clowns and has it been 3 minutes yet?
I think you're good.
Floppy-footed, foul, fiendish fuckers. I had to get rid of them. I'm going to cuss a lot and abuse alliteration, but Jesse will just smile and nod. He can testify to that. So, yeah, I mean, Kill Giggles was amazing. I mean, it was just, it was something that I'm truly, truly proud of because we had so many people that put so many hours, days, weeks of their life into it. I think Jesse can nod. There are certain scenes that, we've been planning for 2 and 3 years. So,
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's been a tremendous amount of work, but to finally see this product, I mean, almost done. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. It's gonna make North Carolina film proud again, as North Carolina film should be, because there's so much brilliant stuff going on here, and there has been.
Right.
Even in the last couple of years, the film incentives, everyone got mad. The sky was falling because of film incentives left, and everyone jumped ship down to Atlanta. The film industry may have left North Carolina, but the film community has never been stronger.
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of those incentives came back too.
yeah, and you're starting to see that. Yeah, well, before the world went tits up. I
Right,
mean,
yeah.
there were a lot of productions that were coming back into the North Carolina, especially with the coastal area, like the Halloweens shooting around here and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of really good stuff, and then that's been put on pause. I'm thoroughly convinced it's just a pause because, damn it, we have movie magic to make.
Oh yeah, it'll be. Yeah, we'll be back to business within a couple of months or so, I'm sure.
Hopefully, we got a world premiere to have. So
Yeah, there you go. So most of the work you do is in the indie horror genre, correct?
yes.
Okay. Which I like the horror genre too. I write a lot of horror stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's.
Well, just always. I mean, I grew up watching the Twilights. I think the Twilight Zone was my favorite
Oh,
thing
yeah.
to watch. So I mean, it's like that. I remember
Awesome.
watching like the Hammer films on Saturdays with my dad and stuff like that. I mean, I've always had a lifelong love affair with horror. I like being scared. I think everybody likes being scared. You never feel more alive than when you're scared, I think. So, excuse me. It's always just been not necessarily like my go-to, but it's where I've started. It's where I always I tend to find myself. I'm kind of really scary in my head most of the times. So I have to be able to get that stuff out sort of cathartically, and horror has been one of the ways to do that. Horror and thriller, and there's a lot of stuff we've sort of played around with.
Yeah.
We did a short film trilogy called The Gospel According to Booze, Bullets, and Hot Pink Jesus, which was kind of like what would happen if Tarantino was allowed to direct 3 episodes of The Twilight Zone. So that one sort of played around more with sort of like fantasy and the surreality of it and stuff like that. But yeah, horror thriller is sort of always where we've played.
Well, it's fun too because you're scared for a short period of time. If it's it's less and less scary the older you get, but it's still fun. You can get kind of wrapped up in a good horror film, and you can I guess your mirror neurons allow you to experience that fear, but it's not real. And the real scary thing is people in the real world. But
man has always
fun.
been the scariest monster ever. I think Twilight Zone addressed that, and we've even got there's a line. I think it's in the the trailer for Kill Giggles where it's talking about for a man shaped like a monster.
Oh yeah.
I've always thought that mankind has been the scariest creature ever, but there's just been things I've always loved to do. I was obsessed with monsters and everything else like that. So to kind of be able to tell those tales, I was scared of the dark for a long time. I'm fucking terrified of clowns. So rather than kill a bunch of clowns and go to jail, I figured we'd just do it in a movie because
Better choice.
well, it is.
Slightly more productive.
I get to go home at the end of the day and hug my boy, but I still get to kill a bunch of clowns. So I didn't get to kill all the clowns because Jesse kept making me cut the script down. The first version of the script was about 300 pages, and I wasn't done yet. I kept telling him 300 pages. His eyes would get really, really big. He's like, "Cut it down." I'm like, fine.
Is that 3 movies?
Yeah, well, I figured it'd be like like one of those like 18-hour like Ken Burns narrated documentaries about the killing of clowns. I was thinking really big here. So I got it down to 200 pages. I thought that was fine. It's like he's shaking his head and sweating profusely. I'm like, it'll be fine. So we got it down eventually to the very svelte 110 pages that it was.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, but still, that 300-page script is out there. So if PBS. If you're looking for content, you let me know.
Maybe we'll write the sequel out of what you cut out of it.
Yeah. We'll make an entire trilogy out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that line, by the way, and you started to quote it, it said, you got to do it again, because that line was awesome.
Really was the whole scene. Really cool.
Well, especially, we call that the clown father scene, because Vernon Wells and Michael Ray Williams just playing off of each other was an amazing thing to watch. But yeah, that was one of the, I'm very, very proud of that line. I can't believe I wrote that.
That's
that
great.
came out of my head.
That whole thing right there that was like,
Yeah, that's one of the most powerful scenes
Yeah.
in the film. And
That
there's
actor's
a
really
lot in
good
there.
too. The guy with the British accent. What's his name?
Vernon Wells. He's
Vernon
Australian.
Wells.
Yeah, he was
Australian
in
accent,
Mad
okay.
Max 2. Was it the Lord Commander and Weird Science?
Nice.
Inner Space. He was in like Power Rangers? I mean, Bennett from Commando.
He's been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Okay.
like he's amazing, an amazing fellow. But you can't ever call him sir. Yeah, otherwise you have to pay money.
I still owe him.
I know, but hey, we made a sizable donation. But yeah, this thing is when I first started talking with her, and I again grew up, small town boy, steel-toed girl on a Saturday night looking for a fight in my life. That wasn't really me, but I did know that girl. I call everyone sir and ma'am, and it's just a force of habit.
Yeah, we grew up in a small town
Yeah.
too,
Well,
so
yeah,
we understand. I've broken that habit mostly though because we live in such an informal society now, which is cool.
Yeah, I get in trouble. It's like, people tell me, well, don't limit me with binary. I'm like, I have to say it, otherwise my dad's going to come back from the grave and smack me in the back of the head for being disrespectful,
Yeah.
So when I was talking to Vernon Wells, and we had like an hour and a half long conversation on the phone, which is longer than I've talked to anybody probably in my entire life. And I call him, like sir. He's like, if you keep calling me sir, he's like, we're gonna take a jar and put cash in it. Everyone on set, they call me sir, they call me Mr. Wells, so it's $5 in. I think by the end of the night it was like $125. Like I was just running a card at the end of the night and like just swipe it.
Like, sir, this is North Carolina.
But no, I'm like, yes sir, Mr. Wells. I'm like, shit. Just
Hit it again.
Popping it in.
That's
Popping it in.
funny.
But he was amazing. Amazing. I got to go pick him up from the airport in my mom's minivan, which also served as our G&E truck for the film. And it still smelled like dogs. So we've got like a bunch of like lighting gear and everything in there. It smells like dogs. It has a cassette player, so I was blasting AC/DC. I'm like, I'm gonna put the Australian at ease, Like, I don't like AC/DC. I think we picked like Kansas or something. We popped, but so I had a conversation about rock and roll, and I dropped him off. And yeah, he's an amazing fellow, amazing. But that scene, the Clown Father scene between him and Michael, was just chilling. And then the score that Ron Wasserman composed for it is just, is some kind of wonderful.
Now, does he still live in Australia or is he here?
He's in LA. I think he's been
LA,
in LA
okay.
for quite some time.
That's cool.
And it was really cool because Jesse and I had crossed paths with Vernon several years ago at a convention in Louisville, Fandom Fest, and was just like, holy shit, it's Vernon Wells. And it's just like, we ended up striking up a conversation. It was like, I'd love to be able to work with you someday. And he opens up he unzips like his fanny pack. This is amazing. Like, unzips his fanny pack and pulls out a wallet and gives me a card that it clearly had been in there since like 1997. And it was so charming. He's like, well, here's my card. He's like, just give me a call. And then ended up, years later getting Felissa Rose involved with the project. She's like, well, you should put Vernon Wells in it. Yes, I should. Why don't you? And so she sends a text between me and Vernon and her, and then everything just fell into place.
It's amazing how small the world actually is, right?
It really, really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with all the internets and the inner tubes and the social networkings and
We're all
stuff like that,
connected,
and
yeah.
it still gets smaller. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to start checking out some stuff. Just Vernon Wells now.
Yeah, I am too. Yeah, he's a really
Yeah,
good actor.
Mad
so.
Max 2 is an amazing flick. And then go right into Weird Science, and then Commando, and then
Yeah,
Inner
Weird Science is
Space.
good.
Oh yeah, Weird
Commando's great too. Is he like the?
He was the main villain.
Yeah. Okay, I remember that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I
and
didn't realize that was
then
him.
like Arnold like throws the pipe. He's like, "Let off some steam."
Wow,
Bennett."
that's
That was a horrible Vernon Wells impression. David Joy can do a really good Vernon Wells impression. So we had that in Kill Giggles. We have a flashback where we play around with the duplicity of the Giggles character, but David Joy is an amazing actor. So I told him to channel his best Vernon Wells, and he did an amazing job.
that's cool. So, how many movies have you actually produced and written?
Oh, numbers. I think we've probably done like 13, 14. I mean, I've got just boxes of scripts in there. I'm writing 5 scripts at one time right now, trying to get those out of my skull.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, I would have to probably look at IMDb. And then I've been lucky. I mean, producer credits. I've been lucky enough to be to help Jesse kind of produce some of the movie magic he's made too. So I mean, it's been going steady, been going strong since 2006.
Oh, nice.
Like I said, I think we've probably done like 13 shorts, and then Kill Giggles being our first feature, and then there's 5 shorts I'm writing right now to get out of my head so that I can make room to do another feature.
Do you typically write a short first, and then if you like the short, you try to write it as a feature? Is that how you do it, or?
There's really no madness to my method, or vice versa. I mean, it's just sort of it's a giant clusterfuck in my head. Like I said, I've got like 5 screenplays right now, so it's like I'll write like a little bit on this and a little bit on this and a little bit on this one. Kill Giggles originally started off as a short, and then I had about 3 composition books full of clown death, and people told me like it's got to be a feature. So like, okay, so I'll make it a feature. And then I had about 30 boxes full of clown death. It just sort of depends on the story, and I think with the film world being what it is now, and especially with like the film festival circuit, like short films just sort of keep getting shorter. And I understand that, from a programming point of view and stuff like that, but we made shorts. We made one called Between Hell and a Hard Place, which is it's about a 25-minute black and white, kind of a on-the-road thriller. Closest thing I'll ever get to the original episode of The Twilight Zone. But 25 minutes is just a horrible fucking length for film festivals, because it's like, in that 25, I mean, you could show 3 or 4 other, 5-6 minute shorts and stuff like that. So it was a weird length, but short films I noticed keep getting shorter, at least for the festival circuit. So we've just it just sort of depends on the idea, the story,
Right.
what you want to do with it. I mean, you can write an amazing 5-minute short with one person in one room and, maybe very little, if any, dialogue. It just sort of depends on the story and how you shoot it and the lighting and all the different visual elements and stuff like that. So it's really, and I know there are entire books on do this and then this and then this and this, and I've never read any of those because we've been too busy making movies the last, 14 years. So yeah, it just sort of depends on whatever the particular idea is that's screaming in my head at the time.
So I got a couple of questions. So I've known you for a little bit now.
Hot minute, yeah.
So you started off the craft. You were a writer and kind of an artist and that kind of stuff. And then as you got into filmmaking, you found that it was necessary to do certain things to get people to look at said films and to do that kind of stuff. And actually, one of the things that kind of struck me in the beginning, and it kind of got me into it for a while, though as I get older, cons and stuff kind of get old after a while. It's grueling. It's actually work, though. You got to go and you got to have to do a lot of things. And you didn't have like an instruction manual to do any of that kind of stuff. You had to kind of figure it out. So I'm kind of curious, what was when you first decided to do that kind of stuff, and what did you start doing to get into cons, and then from there getting into merchandise and figuring out the business into stuff?
Yeah, I have no fucking clue, man. I have no idea. When again, no, like it was weird. We started doing, like, we got involved with the 48-hour film project, which is an international competition. I think there's even like a quarantine 48-hour film project right now. So we started doing that. It was just a once a year kind of like, we would do that and then sort of kind of wait in between. And then I found myself with more ideas. And the entire reason I got into filmmaking, I owe it to my wife. And today is actually our 20th anniversary.
Hey,
Happy anniversary.
happy anniversary.
Thank you. But she made she was going to movies with me. It just reached a point where I was getting fed up with movies. I'm like, they should have done this. They would have been better if they'd done this, and just sort of dissecting them, as I'd sort of done all my whole life. And then she just sort of looked at me one day and said, all right, why don't you do it? And then trying to, counter argue the logic of feminine wiles, I was like, fine, I will then.
I'll show you.
Yeah, I'll show you. So, we got up to 48-hour film, and we did, and I wanted to do something else. I didn't want to wait another year, so we did a 45-minute short, which is also the worst length for a film ever, called The Devil's Tramping Ground, based on a piece of North Carolina folklore. And then we sort of got into it, we started doing more shorts and stuff like that, but we did a series called the Zombie Service Announcement Series. And I was kind of like, basically my little homage to the after-school PSAs of the 80s, but this was from the zombie perspective. So yeah, I went like how to survive a human attack and all these, one was like, you don't have to be cold to be cool. Anti-hero goes around saving these little pockets of humanity, but he smokes. And they can't have that. Like the zombies just want to eat you, but cigarettes will kill you. So it's this whole weird, discernment level. But with the ZSAs, we kind of got involved with a group called Con Carolinas out of Charlotte, and they wanted to, especially when before Walking Dead hit, the zombies was sort of the big popular zeitgeist in horror films. They invited us out there to come and show one of those, and then we went back the next year. We had a couple more shorts, so we went to Con Carolinas again, and then they started the Short Film Festival. So we got involved with that film festival, but then there was also another one. We went to one called Monster Con, which was in I can't remember where it was at. But went there and then ended up finding out people. There was a big one called Conuga, which was down in Chattanooga, and they had film festivals and did film screenings and stuff like that. So we went to that con, which was a major party con, but it was just sort of a domino chain because by going to that con and talking to filmmakers there, we found out about another one called Mysticon, which was in Roanoke. So we kind of built up a little network of 3 or 4 different cons that we would go to, and we were still I mean, whiskey wet behind the ears, but I think to sort of hopefully answer a bit of Jesse's question is just being able to go to these conventions and to see the, you know, the celebrities and the vendors and these massive promotional setups that they've got. And there's always, you know, filmmaker alley. We're usually stuck like the very last row in the back fucking corner and stuff like that. So you've got all this massive stuff to compete with, you know, the cosplayers, the vendors, the celebrities, you know, a majority of the reason why most of the people at the con are there. So you've got to try and get their attention. You've got to do it somehow. You know, even if it's just for a few seconds, get them to stop at your table. So you've got to have a really cool table presence. You've got to have promotion. You've got to have merch. You've got to get something that's going to catch their eye for just a couple of seconds to get them to stop at the table long enough. With the film festivals and stuff, or with the, you know, the film festivals at cons, I don't know how many posters I made in the last 14 years, but it's got to be in the thousands. I mean, we would just plaster stuff everywhere. But I mean, people would know, and especially, and we were lucky enough when we started doing that thing was right when we had reached the Hot Pink Jesus trilogy. So I mean, just the name itself, the Gospel According to Booze, Bullets, and Hot Pink Jesus, is kind of something that sticks in people's heads. Yeah. And then and it was, yeah, we had this little, it's a little 18-inch statue, the Velveteen Nazarene. He's fuzzy, he's pink, he's got a magic 8-ball on the bottom. And it's little, like, weird little answers like, you know, I died for this, or let me go ask my dad, or sinner, or something like that. So I kind of crafted 3 separate tales about all these bad guys that were out to get this little statue, because it would, you know, give you all the power that you wanted and stuff like that, but never in the way you thought you would have it, or just for as long as you thought you could. So, but I mean, that, the idea behind the films, the titles, the promotion, the marketing and stuff like that, we just kept getting. Every year we would come back, we would have a better product film, you know, better promotion, better marketing. And I didn't have a whole lot of help, so I kind of jumped into that, especially with the advent of social networking, and just drilling the shit out of it into people's skulls. I mean, making multiple blasts, tagging everyone, and being very, very grateful for the opportunity. And I think it was that gratitude that it kept leading us to bigger and better things. 'Cause, you know, and we still do a couple of conventions. Mysticon is one of our favorites in Roanoke. Con Carolinas we have scheduled, hopefully. Damn it, it's metal. Knock on wood, will be the North Carolina premiere of Kill Giggles, which is at the very last weekend of May, if we're allowed to go back outside and play again. But from the conventions, we kind of got into the film festivals, the proper film festival circuit, and that's an entirely different beast in terms of promotion and marketing and stuff like that. So I don't really know how I did it. A lot of it was just seeing what other filmmakers were doing and what worked and what didn't work, and seeing, you know, they have a cooler poster than I do, damn it, and, you know, and being jealous about it, but in an inspiring kind of way, like not. And there's a lot of negativity out there. I've made a lot of posts about, you know, if we spent more time building each other up than we did tearing each other down, we'd all be a lot further. But there's that in every community, you know, creative, artistic, or not.
Unfortunately,
yeah, I mean, there's always got to be the bad people out there too. But yeah, I don't know how we've gotten as far as we have. I can only attribute that, I mean, just to, you know, the product getting better and better every single year. Everything we do just sort of ramps it up exponentially. And the Hot Pink Jesus trilogy was really what sort of kickstarted that, I think, into hitting the film festival in a serious aspect, you know, to having ourselves taken as, quote unquote, you know, serious independent filmmakers, even in the horror genre and stuff like that, to really kind of step up the game, because the technology out there is making it to where a lot of people are throwing their hats in the filmmaker arena, you know, good, bad, in between, everything. And that's, it's a good and a bad thing. So to be able to kind of, to help ourselves stand out, has forced us to focus on what makes our product original in the first place. And, you know, I think it's everyone involved on both sides of the camera. The marketing, the promotion, we've been lucky to be able to have stuff that stands out to people, that stands out, you know, be it the title of it, or be it the poster, or what we've done, or something like that. So just to kind of, to not settle and to keep taking everything up to another level. Right. And we don't need to get to Hollywood. I don't want to get to Hollywood. I don't like LA. I've been there. Fucking traffic. They do have Trejo's Tacos. I do like that. But it's like I don't need to be rich and infamous.
Well, everything's shot out here anyway. Everything's shot on the East Coast mostly, and most films and TV series are shot in Atlanta or in Georgia. Yeah. Some North Carolina. Most are not shot in LA.
No, so, but that's the thing. Like with North Carolina, I mean, you drive. You know, where we're at in Greensboro. I mean, drive 3 hours, you're at the ocean. You can find desert settings out there. You know, drive 3 hours, you can go in the mountains. I mean, North Carolina has so fucking much beautiful geography and landscapes and
you know that the North Carolina mountains are the most they have the most biodiversity of any place in the United States, I'm pretty sure.
Nice.
Yeah, I believe very diverse, like lots of biodiversity.
But there's just there's so much in and around this state that I never, and I had people like, come out to LA and shoot Kill Giggles. Like, no, I don't want to. Like, I don't. Hey, that's really far from
Yeah,
my
let's
house.
go out there and spend more money.
Well, no, yeah. Well, it's just everything is like you got to have. You know, I mean, everything is. I mean, everything is just ramped up exponentially from an administrative view, from a paperwork point of view, unions, all that other kind of crap. We did Kill Giggles non-union. I mean, we did it, but we got really lucky with locations. Beth Compton was our location scout for it. And I mean, she and I busted our asses to find it, but we found some amazing things that look absolutely beautiful in the film. Rebecca Clark Mills from the Piedmont Triad Film Commission put together this insane package for us that gave us a lot of different options. So, I mean, we got lucky, and we shot a beautiful film that we didn't have to leave the Piedmont area. Well, we did go to Eaton, and then I guess so yeah, in and around.
That's pretty close though.
Yeah.
Well, the Eden Mall, I hope that thing is still there. That was so fucking creepy to shoot in. And then Patrick got freaked out.
You could say that about the whole town.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I hope that. Oh, but I wonder if the drive-in's open yet. Drive-ins are apparently enjoying a nice little resurgence because I mean you just have to stay in your car. You know, I mean it's the perfect social distancing opportunity.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, you remember the one, wasn't it like near Baden Lake, I think?
Albemarle, yeah.
Albemarle, that was the one. Yeah. So we were, over the weekend, I was with my wife, and I'm like, going fucking bored out of my mind. Like, I'm trying to find stuff to do, right?
Right.
And so we're out, and I'm like, this is where you need to drive in. Like, I need to drive in. We could pull in. We could hit 3 movies back to back. I'm like, I'm literally just running out of things to do. So,
we used to go to drive-in every weekend when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Just about. Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing Empire to drive in O'Fallon, Missouri.
The oldest movie, the furthest I remember back as far as films, E.T. was the first movie I saw that I remember in the drive-in.
Nice.
Yeah, I was really young, probably 3.
Yeah, we just watched it with my boy a couple of weeks ago.
It's a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up how easy it is for people to make films today because of digital technology, but it still doesn't. I don't think it's a bad thing because it doesn't take away from people like you who are really committed and put in the work and the effort to make it good quality. Because I mean, you see a lot of people make some terrible shit today, because they think they have a nice camera so they can make a nice film, but it's not. Yeah. That's just a tool. That's a paintbrush.
You have to know how to use it.
You have to know the medium. You have to know the art and how to create it right. You know the structure and all that stuff, and you just see a lot of garbage. But I think that just makes your work look better. You know,
well, I think it's necessary. I mean, it's like it's, for any kid, to pick up. I mean, the thing about it now is you can do everything you need to do for the movie with something that fits in your pocket. You don't have to pay to have film developed anymore. I mean, you don't have to pay to get your film processed and have massive budgets and all the stuff like that. You can do everything with a phone now, and it's just fucking mind blowing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't have not that I'd entertained those ideas when I first became a filmmaker, but I mean, for a kid now to be able to pick up, you can get a little GoPro and make, there's kids with YouTube channels that have billions more hits than I ever will, like playing with fucking Legos or like playing video games or playing, companies send them toys to play with and film it. Wow! Yeah. I could have made millions in the 80s growing up in a trailer park,
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's an amazing thing. I mean, the technology has come that far to where it's like you don't have to have a whole crew anymore. You don't have to have a whole room full of people. Theoretically, you could do it yourself, but I think having all those people and those different backgrounds and life experiences and artistic views and everything else like that, like to me, that's especially with Kill Giggles, like that's what's helped make it so strong, was to be able to have, because I had a certain idea in my head, and I don't do storyboards. I don't draw good. I can draw tattoos, but I can't draw storyboards. But like for Kill Giggles, we tried to storyboard it out. But I've always had a very visual way of writing, to the point where I put too much direction in my screenplays.
Oh yeah.
So like, well then fuck it, I'll just start directing them too in that way. Because the other people, they just didn't get it. They got close, but I was like, I'll just do that too. But it's made it so much easier to be able to just condense everything into a tiny little pocket thing. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And also, I think you remind me a lot of Rob Zombie, as far as like your, not just your appearance, but your approach to film. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this is the right time to be that way, because I think as an indie filmmaker, you can do so much more today because it's easy to get your work out there. You can promote it yourself. You can make it available yourself for a fairly low cost.
Yeah, I've been streaming and Shudder, and
it's amazing.
It's changed the game, with
Amazon
and you
Prime
can
you can. It's almost like you can put it out there and then make money from it through through because of what it is, because of how if people really like it, it'll be profitable because it'll be you'll get paid through marketing. It'll the advertisers will pay you after the fact, which is really cool.
No, it's completely changed the landscaping of independent filmmaking, both good and bad. So
that's true, yeah. And but I like it because everything doesn't have to go through a huge studio now. So the small filmmakers that are really talented can be very successful now. In the past, you had to go through a big studio. You had to sell your film. It would probably turn into something you didn't like, that you didn't write. They'd probably fire you and hire 20 other writers to rewrite it and make it some bullshit garbage.
Well, it always had to be feature too. Like, I mean, short films. Nobody wanted to buy a short. You're not going to go to a theater to see a short film. So it had to be the big feature stuff.
That's another thing too. I think there's going to be a future for short films also. Have you seen what is it, Sex, Love, and Robots on Netflix? It's like an anthology of short films or a compilation of short films, and there's probably 15 or 18 of them, and they're all maybe 5 minutes to 15 minutes.
Nice.
And it's all animated, but it was shot. I think most of them were actually shot with live people, and they animated over them. It's really cool looking. It's a great series. But to me, that's awesome because it was very successful, has great reviews on IMDb, but it's all short films. And so I think that would be another, instead of having like a series, just have a compilation of your short films, and that's marketable.
Yeah, well, I think you've seen. There's been a great resurgence in anthologies and stuff like that too.
Right.
I mean, it gives those filmmakers an opportunity to reach an audience, and especially if you've got your own separate audience, get 4 or 5 different filmmakers together that have their various audiences. It just makes the collective pool bigger for people to go and check out the work. So I mean, there's a lot of good anthologies out there.
Right.
And I think just streaming. I know Avail Films. They've got Avail TV. So I mean, they've got several of our shorts on there. The Mad Ones film stuff, Jesse's stuff. Brad Hoar's got some stuff on there. Like they've just got an amazing selection of shorts. That's just streaming. So I mean, it's changed the landscape in a good way, because I mean it allows a lot of independent filmmakers access to a much larger audience than the 5 family members and 6 friends that are going to watch it on a private YouTube link, and then it just sits out there, or they put the whole short film out there and stuff like that. So I mean, and again, especially with the film festival circuit too, like that's another completely different avenue that has flourished a lot within the last few years. I mean, there's just thousands of film festivals out there. Some multi-genre, some just specifically. There's just horror festivals, and there's just grindhouse, and there's just drama, and just comedy, and family films, and faith-based, and all sorts of stuff like that. Like there's so many little niches out there for filmmakers to get an audience they wouldn't have had 5, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a great time to market yourself. Yeah, and get your
especially right now, because what else are you going to do? You can't go anywhere.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, specifically right now.
You've got to get really fucking creative when you can't leave the house.
Yeah, good time to do some writing. Yeah.
So what do you do? I'm curious. So like when you get to fundraising, like putting these deals together, are you guys self-funding everything, or?
No, we don't have any money. We've gotten lucky with Kill Giggles. We had tried to, and we did Indiegogo campaigns before, just to crowdsource the short. But we've relied on crowdsourcing and fans and investors heavily for the last few years, especially kind of once we started hitting the film festival circuit and wanting to be able to take just the production quality and the levels of everything we're doing and be able to ramp them up to feel comfortable enough competing at that level. But we've gotten lucky with Indiegogo. With Kill Giggles, we tried something a little bit different. There's a company called Start Engine that does equity crowdsourcing. So instead of being something perk-based like Indiegogo, where it's like for $20 you get a shirt, or for certain you get having like promotional items instead, we effectively sold shares in the film. So it was like for $100 you got a share in the film, and then we had a return on investment and stuff like that. So we were able to raise a really decent chunk of change with that, which allowed us to be able to secure, and after that we did an Indiegogo campaign just to be able to have that perk-based alternative, because we've got Kill Giggles t-shirts will be coming. We have I should have brought a light up clown nose. We have light up clown noses with the Kill Giggles logo on them. We've got like buttons, stickers, some amazing fucking posters designed by Justin Reich. Like we've got a lot of really, really cool stuff.
That's cool.
Damn it, I forgot where I was going with that because I got talking about promotion stuff. Crowdsourcing. Yeah, so we kind of did both, and then we were lucky enough to get another private investment that allowed us to be able to get almost complete post-production. So I mean, a lot of it has just been, between putting the time in to having 2 different crowdsourcing campaigns, and then sort of also limiting it at that too. I didn't. I think we've all seen there's been a massive influx of crowdsourcing opportunities. Back when we started up Between Hell and a Hard Place, there was Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and that was it. And now there's like those and GoFundMe and Pay My Bills and IDon'tWannaWork.com. And this was before the world went tits up and the apocalypse hit and everybody got fired.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how bad it has to be now. But yeah, so we always tried to put as much work into the creative campaigns where we were asking strangers to donate their hard-earned dollars as we did the film itself. Because I've seen a lot of campaigns where they'll put up the static little poster and a 5-minute little thing, and then the campaign never changes, so they don't promote it. They'll blast it out one time and then think that people are just going to come and find it automatically.
People want something for nothing.
Yeah, well, it's just to me the campaign. I mean, you have to show almost like a dynamic interactivity. I mean, make it something. I mean, you have to blast it every day and every source, and then not just the same message and the same picture every time. So we kind of learned a lesson like with Between Hell and a Hard Place. We went out, Jesse went out, Jesse and I went out and shot a few videos where it's like I was being ransomed off because we had a couple of hitmen in that movie, and like we were at the back roads. I'm like, help me, you got to help me. And like we had like a little countdown going, and we changed the countdown every day. I think we were using that. That Indiegogo campaign was to pay money to save the director because he'd been kidnapped. So I mean, just trying to put a little bit of enough of a creative spin on it to where it sort of sticks out in people's heads, and then they'll want if they can't contribute, they'll at least go ahead and share it to their friends. So it gets the exposure out there. So really just busting your ass at crowdsourcing, because especially now, I mean, there's so many filmmakers out there. And I've got film friends like I would love to be able to contribute anything to every campaign, but it's a lot. And then also trying to get your own stuff done too. Like it's really hard out there. So to me, the most work that you can put in it, the better, especially when you're asking people for money and you have to compete with thousands of people doing that same thing that may have more money than you or bigger toys or or more well-known names. So it's just about trying to stake your claim in a world that's just completely inundated and overexposed already.
Yeah. And you have to show quality. You have to show that your work is quality work and let them see that, because you see a lot of really delusional people in the film industry that they've never made a film. They suddenly think their idea is really valuable, and maybe it's a good idea, but they still don't know how to make a film. They still don't know how to act, or direct or any of this stuff, and they create something that's really awful. And they try to raise money for it, and it's not going to happen. And
they can't understand why.
Yeah, and we've talked about this too. It takes 10,000 hours to be really proficient at something. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of work. You've put in, 14 years of your life.
Make me do the math.
in doing what you do, so you're obviously going to get better and better at it the more you do it. Mm-hmm. How many hours do you spend writing a week?
Not nearly enough.
When you're working on a project, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it just sort of depends. There's the short film I'm working on, Cub, which is actually a sequel to a short that Jesse did. I've been writing on that one for probably 3 or 4 months now. But I mean, it's been I don't think I've done anything for a couple. Take a month or so off and then end up writing 5 or 6 pages and keep 2 of those. I mean, it just sort of depends. Especially with the apocalypse now, my baby boy, my 8-year-old. At home takes up a lot of my time too.
Everyone's a little distracted right now.
Everyone. The world's a bit different. So not nearly as much as I would like. I was going to try and do a thing like Jesse did, where he was writing a page a day. I'm like, I'm going to do that. And that lasted for like a half a day. I'm like, balls.
What about Kill Giggles though? You did put days and days and days.
You said
and hours
300 pages.
Yeah, I mean, I spent probably about 3 years working on that script, and I mean, there was a point where I went out to one of my friends had a cabin at like Cleveland, North Carolina, somewhere just tiny little burg out in the middle of nowhere. Went and spent a weekend out of the cabin in the woods. I'm like, this can only
That's a
end
perfect place to write.
Yeah. I'm like, this is gonna end well. I had to use the outhouse outside. Like November, it was fucking cold. But I mean, I probably wrote maybe like 50, 60 pages in that weekend. So I mean,
sure.
and then ended up cutting most of those when we excised the script. So I mean, I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just how much or how obsessed I get about the idea at the time.
Right.
And you had said earlier too that you like to get things. I guess you're getting them on paper so you can get them out of your head to make room for the next thing. That's part of your madness to your method, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So I have to write everything out. Like I can't write at a computer. The little blinking cursor just sits there taunting me. So I mean, I still write everything out. I've got just drawers and boxes of.
You handwrite it all?
Yeah. I've got just
Wow.
notepads and pens. I mean, I've got to write everything. I take notes on the phone and stuff like that. But still, I mean, I'll write everything out by hand. I wrote the Giggles script out, most of it by hand, and then typed everything and then made all the revisions and edits from there. So.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm kind of, but to me, it's just, I can't, there's just something palpable about having the pen in my hand and putting the pen to the paper and then creating literally something out of air that, that didn't exist before that. Like, I mean, the screen is nice, but it's just zeros and ones floating in a cloud somewhere. The piece of paper with my writing in front of me, that's what I've got.
That's cool. I'm all digital now.
Well, yeah, and I mean, the world itself is, so it's.
I just sit there and, I mean, I did, like, my first screenplay, which was a feature-length screenplay I wrote with another guy, a friend of mine in L.A.
Nice.
It was a science fiction screenplay. I had a dream. I was dreaming, like, these crazy, I have pretty vivid dreams anyway. I was having these really crazy, detailed dreams about this idea. And for about 3 hours, I couldn't sleep, so I just got up at like 3:30 in the morning and just wrote down like 6 pages of all these notes of what my dreams were about.
Right.
And it turned into a cool screenplay.
That's awesome.
It was the first one, so I need to go back and rewrite it with him, and I think it's still a good story. But that's the only time I've actually handwritten. Well, actually, when I wrote that one, we wrote out all the scenes and stuff by hand too on sticky notes. Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Fuck this!" They kept falling off, and so now I've made templates for all my scenes and stuff. It's all digital, so I can go in and write my paradigm out on a digital template, and then do all my scenes on a digital template, and then I write all the backstories for the characters, and I'll actually go in and start writing the script once all that's finished. Mm-hmm. And it's just, for me, that's a lot. I'm just really analytical, I guess, in some ways, and I like to be structured and organized, so it helps me. And it was a pain in the ass when 15 of those sticky notes would fall off that storyboard. I'm like,
wait,
oh my
what
God,
order was
where
that
were
in?
these at? Where did these go? But I know, like with me and a lot of other writers I've talked to, like when you sit down and start writing, I guess by hand or typing or whatever, when you start writing the script, mm-hmm. a lot of the stuff that you're writing, it's almost like it's not you writing it. It's almost like it's your subconscious creating this story that hasn't existed. Mm-hmm. Even when you're writing out the paradigm or figuring out the structure or the scenes, even when you're writing the scenes, it's still like you almost feel like you're not writing it.
Well, you're playing
just
God.
channeling it or something. Yeah,
you're playing God. You're creating a world that did not exist before. So yeah, I mean, you're making something out of nothing, even if it's still just on paper.
It's hard to describe that experience too. It's really fascinating.
I like how you were talking about that, because when I write, generally, like, it's not every day, but if I've got something I'm going to write, I'll, like he says, like, the best way I can do it is I at least have to do a page a day. But I'll write notes and stuff and kind of have a vague notion where I'm going, but really it's just sort of like, okay, it's my time for an hour. I'm going to open up this portal to chaos and just kind of see what happens. It's sort of like waiting for things to happen. I don't know what's going to happen next necessarily. I know kind of where I kind of want to go, and then it just happens. It's a very strange thing,
Yeah, I'll have like my plot points already written, or at least a really good idea of what they are. Mm-hmm. So like when I'm writing, I have a direction I'm going, but I don't know how I'm going to get there. I'm not sure how these characters. I know the characters and their backstories, so I know what their personalities are like. But it's almost like they get themselves there.
Oh yeah, they do.
Which is really crazy.
Like, I mean, I think any self-respecting writer is schizophrenic to a certain degree, and I think you kind of have to be, because I mean, you're not just writing for what I don't write like what would Jaysen Buterin say in this position. Like, it's not me. It's Tommy DeSantos, and his parents were killed, and it's like you have to put yourself in so many different mindsets, I think, to be able to accurately to make those characters more than just two-dimensional. I mean, to make them larger than life. Yeah. So I mean, you have to be empathetic to a certain degree too. I mean, even no matter how twisted or chaotic or cruel or fantastical your characters might be, you still have to be able to make them relatable to an audience somehow. So I mean, you have to be able to give them that depth. Little tics, little idiosyncrasies they may do, things they may say, ways they may act. I mean, all sorts of little things like that make them much more than just a flat, a placeholder on screen, basically.
Right. Yeah. Just something just to get you through the story. Mm-hmm. the best way I can describe that feeling of writing is like if you read a really good book and you really you feel like you're almost the character in the book, or you really relate to those characters in the book. It has a lot to do with empathy, like you say. It's like a mirror neuron type thing. But or if you watch a really good movie and you feel like you're in that movie, like you're really just completely enthralled in this film. It's the same thing in writing. It's like you'll be writing the story, and you're like, oh, that's how they got there. That's why this happened. Or wow, I didn't even see this. I didn't know this was going to happen. How did this happen?
Yeah, the little serendipitous
But I'm writing it.
moments that pop up. Yeah, no, you're like, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
then you have to question yourself, like, are you really writing it?
Yeah,
Or
it's like,
is
where are these
some
ideas
other
coming
power
from?
writing it through you? Yeah, I don't know. And I take I always put autobiographical things in. I mean, I think every writer does, or a lot of writers do to certain points.
Oh yeah, there's certain things that relate to you.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
I had done that for a long time, like with names in the Hot Pink Jesus trilogy. Like I had like family names and all sorts of stuff like that.
Do the same
little
thing.
events, but with Kill Giggles, like there's a couple of scenes in that film that are just lifted straight. I mean, straight out of my life, damn near verbatim. Our male and female lead meet up, and they meet up in a bar and spend an amorous night together. And then the amorous night turns into an amorous day, and then they leave and go get pizza. And that's pretty much how I met my wife 20 years ago. Almost
cool.
to the T. Yeah, we don't have an Emo's Pizza here in North Carolina. That makes me sad. But there's that, and there's a moment that happens in a Mexican restaurant where a clown comes in making balloons, and the character freaks out and threatens to stab it in the throat with its fucking fork. And that actually happened to me when I helped my friend move. So there's all these, but I tend to put all these little things into my movies just as, I don't know, little homages, little nods. I was lucky enough to actually put my mom. She has an appearance in Kill Giggles.
Oh, that's cool.
My son has a cameo in Kill. We put everybody in fucking Kill. My son, my mom-in-law. Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of people in there. But so that was nice and rewarding for me, was to be able to just sort of pay homage, pay thanks to these people and stuff like that, to be able to put them in the movie. Because again, Kill Giggles is something I've been working years for, and it's something I'm extremely proud of. So once this quarantine fog is lifted, we're gonna hit the ground running, but we're gonna send in the clowns to die, and it's gonna make me happy. It makes me happy. People have asked about if we're gonna have a sequel, and there are ideas there. One of the shorts I just got done writing is called "The Blue-Eyed Boy and Mr. Death," which is a line from an E.E. Cummings poem that I've had stuck in my skull since 6th fucking grade back in Warrenton, Missouri. I think it was Buffalo Bill, but yeah, the line of the poem was, "How do you like your blue-eyed boy, Mr. Death?" And it's always just been in my skull. I've got to do something with that. So I started writing a script because my father passed away in 2010. And I still have his number in my phone, so I kind of had the idea. It was just, a guy sitting on it, had just bought a house. It was sitting on the front steps. It was kind of, had a couple of beers, sort of celebrating, was looking through his phone, and comes to his dad's number and kind of gets a little bit misty-eyed and accidentally hits the call button. Somebody picks up on the other end, so he's like, shit, and he hangs up and stuff like that. And then somebody calls back, and he sort of has this conversation relationship with this, sort of like a paternal figure that spans a couple of years and goes through this guy's life events and stuff like that. Then he ends up calling back one night after the birth of his son, and a woman answers the phone, and she's like, he's like, I need to talk to George. Like, he's been dead for 3 years. I'm his daughter. I just found his stuff and plugged it and stuff like that. So it's essentially having a conversation with death. And my whole idea for that, the tagline I have is like, what if death felt bad for being a dick and occasionally just sort of offers. So he wasn't having a conversation with his father, but it plays around that sort of slightly surreal, dramatic aspect that I've always loved from the Twilight Zone. So it's maybe a 12, 13-minute kind of a short script, one person, one actor, Adam Hampton, who is a brilliant fucking bloke out of Oklahoma. That guy does amazing things, but just very, very dramatic. But I mean, to me, that's just right out of my personal backstory, literally. 'Cause I mean, I've got the phone, I've been there. I haven't hit the call button yet. I'm too scared to do that. But just to kind of play around with it and to take a dramatic twist after Kill Giggles. So that's something we want to do. There's another one I'm writing called Cub, which would be a werewolf hunter's tale. Werewolf Hunters being a brilliant short that Jesse made last year. So kind of continuing, into that world. And then there's another script we've got called War of the Living Dead, which I wrote many, many years ago. And then sort of, kind of like you were talking about taking that first script and then resurrecting it, giving it a new polish and stuff. I wrote that before I had any idea. I think I learned what screenplay formatting was. I'm like, oh, scene settings. Yeah. Those are important, because the first screenplay I wrote was like a 20-page prose paragraph with no fucking breath. Just I was like, none of the formatting, like actors or line or time of day or scene setting or dialogue. Like, I didn't know any of that shit. But went through and took War of the Living Dead and gave it a big polish, and it's been on the screenplay circuit for a little while now, and got a couple of nominations and awards and stuff like that. So that's something we kind of like to do a little bit later with too. Jesse has a brilliant film called Trapdoor Spider. We're hoping once the quarantine fog lifts to kind of get that going. So I mean, there's so much on our production plate, our project plate. We just need to be able to go outside and play again.
Yeah, get back to work.
Or maybe we stay inside and everything goes VOD and streaming. I don't know, but yeah, I miss.
Still have to shoot the stuff though.
Well, we do. Yeah, still have to get everyone. Yeah, and it's hard to corral that many people when everyone's quarantined and the bandwidth is getting tested.
Shoot all the scenes with masks on.
Yeah, might as well green screen that shit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, all animation. Oh, so what's the earliest you remember of being interested in making films?
My dad was a photographer my whole life, event photographer, wedding photographer for a lot of times. I remember his first, and he was always sort of pioneered the VHS mode in the late 70s, early 80s. I remember his first camera was just this massive, like 500-pound clunky fucking thing. And I took it out to the garage one time. I was going to shoot like a Conan story. I lifted it up. I was like, this is heavy. Fuck that. So we just went and played anyway. That was technically, I guess, my first foray into filmmaking. But again, I mean, I grew up. I've always been a writer. I mean, I've always, the medium of the words may have changed, but the words have always been there. So it wasn't until, like I said, my wife gave me the bright idea or challenged me, I guess, threw down the gauntlet. She is a golden goddess, after all. That would make sense. But yeah, until she challenged me to sort of to do it. I mean, if I didn't like the way it was being done, why don't I do it better? Well, shit. Okay. So I mean, that really sort of so that gave me the idea, and we got together with a few friends. We did the 48-hour film project at one time, and then we did it again, and then we did Devil's Tramping Ground, and it snowballed beyond my wildest expectations. I mean, I never, when we did that, I never saw myself becoming a filmmaker, let alone to the very, very lucky point that we're at now, to where a lot of our films, our films have won awards, have been recognized, have screened around the world at film festivals everywhere. We are, and everyone always talks about, the sets of laurels. I mean, currency in independent film right now is, you get a set of laurels and IMDb credits, sometimes free craft services if you're lucky. But we've been able to screen at a lot of festivals. The awards that we've won, each and every single one is an honor. I mean, because there's so much stuff out there. So I mean, it really started when my wife sort of dropped that gauntlet. But I mean, when that happened, I had no idea I was going to end up here. I mean, I had no idea. Never saw Kill Giggles coming, any of that kind of shit.
That's awesome. So you sort of fell into your passion, like you just.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I've finally figured out what I want to be when I grow up. I had to wait till my late 30s. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. That's a lie. I wanted to be Batman.
I think growing up's a lie too.
Yeah, I want to be Indiana Jones still when I grow up, and they're delaying shooting of the next one. So I mean, I'll throw my fedora in the ring for that. But no, I mean, I never saw the filmmaking coming. But I can't believe what an insane journey it's been already, and then. I mean, what we're going to do with Kill Giggles. And I mean, from Kill Giggles and Trapdoor Spider beyond, like there's so much out there. It's kind of amazing. I mean, we really do get to make magic, create worlds. I mean, it's something, and especially for the pure psychological catharsis alone of being able to kill clowns the way we did for Kill Giggles. Like we got to draw and quarter a rodeo clown. Who doesn't want to draw and quarter a rodeo clown? I mean, it's just good, wholesome family fun. Some of the other stuff we did with clowns too. I got to beat a clown in the head with a sock full of quarters. That was cool.
That's funny.
Melted some faces off. Like we've got some really good clown death in that movie and stuff like that. But
you should have named it 10 Ways to Kill a Clown.
I should have. Well, it's funny too because with there's I've used the phrasing that we're taking a modern horror trope and sort of turning it on its rainbow wig covered head, because what we have with Kill Giggles, we have a serial killer of clowns, not a serial killer who dresses up like a clown. Because I went through and made a massive fucking list of just, the last 15, 20 years where it's the clowns are always the monsters, the murderers, the aliens, the bad guys, the serial killers. And I mean, the list is massive. Right. And then I was like, well, I want to make a list now where someone kills the clowns. And there was nothing on there. So I was like, wrote Kill Giggles. So we're on a list of one. But yeah, just to be able to kind of to do something different, because especially when I seriously started Kill Giggles, I mean, we still are. just knee deep, tits deep in an era of remakes and reboots and refranchises, and we're gonna reboot this, and like how many fucking times are they gonna remake The Ring and Saws? And I get that there's that dependability and that comfortability with a product that people know.
Right,
I
yeah.
understand that, but it's like, I mean, stop making fucking Spider-Mans, please, or just keep the same kid for a while. Like, I mean, it's just everything. It's like reboot it, or it's gonna be this, or it's a remake, or it's a back. It's just like, you know. So the thing that I wanted to be able to focus on with Kill Giggles, because I talked about it for years, and we had the screenplay was out. We shot a proof of concept that did really well, and I mean, every festival I went at, my friend Mary Ellen was cool enough to get me the first and only Kill Giggles T-shirt that exists right now. So I mean, it talked about it forever, but to me, the idea, and I think that's what hopefully has attracted a lot of people to it, is just it's an original idea. I mean, it's not groundbreaking, it's not earth shattering, but it's something that hasn't been done before.
It's a different take on it.
It's just different enough to kind of stand out there. Yeah. So, and then, I mean, that being said, if Sci-Fi Channel wants to pay me an obscene amount of money to do a shitty knockoff before Kill Giggles comes out, hit me up. We'll talk. I've been married far too long. I have no pride, no humility left. I will sell my soul for that paycheck.
Side note, man, you got to tell your wife when you get home that you paid homage to to her
Oh,
in
yeah.
the relationship, because she needs to take care of you this evening, because she's not going to see this for a little while. So you just need to say, hey, honey, listen, I deserve special treatment tonight. Take my word for it. In like a week and a half, you're gonna believe me. I promise you.
No, she is my special treatment. Yeah, the girl saved my life. The boy saved my soul. So actually, when we get out of here, I have to go home later, and the boy and I are gonna go pick wildflowers in the yard so I can make her bouquet, because it's our anniversary. But like, I can't fucking go anywhere to get anything. Yeah, it was just I didn't plan them for this before the apocalypse hit. Yeah, so we're gonna get creative and inventive and stuff like that. But we'll have a good night. We'll have a good night. But yeah, I couldn't do anything without those two. I mean, I generally try and put them in every little movie somewhere. The boy's first cameo was in Act 2 of the Hot Pink Jesus trilogy, because we had like an outdoor flea market scene. So I was like, he was 2 at the time, holding him in my arms. Me and my wife walked by. I try and silent bob myself into as many of my films as I can.
that's cool. Yeah.
I can't, and I've been lucky enough to do a fair amount of acting. I can't direct and be in front of the camera at the same time. So it's like I'll just little speaking parts. I have a wicked fucking cool one in Kill Giggles that made me happy. Brilliant rock and roll chanteuse by the name of Mary Prankster. Was around for a long time, and then sort of stepped out of the limelight, but was able to get in touch with her, and she wrote a new song for the movie, which is called Clownin', which once the quarantine fogs lift, will be the first rock and roll video I'm directing this summer. So I'm excited
Nice.
about that. But my band had played shows with her a long, long time ago, and so I got her to be able to come back and make an appearance in the movie, largely because I wanted to be the drummer in her band. So that was like a little bucket list check off.
Oh, so you're a musician also?
Yeah, I've been playing drums most of my whole life.
Oh, nice.
Around 7, my mom took away her pots and pans and got me a drum kit, so I just started making a lot of noise. But yeah, so I got to have a little cameo as Mary Prankster's drummer, and we spent like 8 hours setting up that scene. About 5 seconds of the film, but fuck, those 5 seconds are amazing. Amazing. In the director's cut, we're going back to the 300-page version for the director's cut, but
That's how we first met. You were a drummer. You came in, and there you were. And I'm
I
like,
joined.
thank
I
God.
joined Jesse's band. Yeah,
Oh, cool.
we played rock and roll together in Vegas and LA.
Yeah.
Are you still in the band together? No?
No,
Oh,
I'm,
okay.
I'm still in the Malamondos. Yeah, we played a show a couple of weeks ago. March 6th actually, my wife's birthday. We played at the Blind Tiger with Southern
Oh, okay,
Culture on
cool.
the Skids.
Cool
That
place.
was our last foray.
It's a good venue.
What Jesse? What'd you do?
In the band,
Yeah.
I was the bass player. So I'd never been in a band before, but I always made like noise with stuff my whole life, like keyboards, guitars, whatever. Just I like gear and how things sound and stuff. And then I was forced to get structured by our common friend Troy Martin, who's the head of the band of Malamondos, and he just said, "Hey, come on, you're gonna play bass for me. We play in like a week or 2 weeks or something."
Wow.
So I programmed the set list in my thing, and it had all the notes, and I learned how to play bass, how to do that. And then after about a year, I moved. I had to quit Malamondos, but I joined a couple other bands, and then I learned how to play guitar, how you're supposed to, kind of, sort of, and I still play, that kind of stuff.
That's cool.
He was my moral support when I joined the Malamondos.
So do you guys tour and stuff, or?
No, we did, but the problem is we're all, we had grown-up jobs and
Oh, yeah.
stuff like that and families. I mean, it's just, yeah, it just wasn't in the cards. We played a lot of shows. And
Some
done-
mini tours where we'd hit like 5 or 6 places and then that's it.
Yeah, but like going out on the road for weeks
Right.
at a time or something like that, like it was never, we were never to that level. And then now there's no way I could do it. I can't be away from home for a day without missing my boy too much. So
Right. But you guys are still together, right?
yeah.
So you still play at local venues a lot and stuff. Okay.
Yeah,
Come check it out.
every once in a while. And again, because a lot of it, like when I first joined, I wasn't doing the movie thing hardly at all. And then that's sort of taken a turn too. The movies are sort of all encompassing, and it's just like, right, I'm in a band. I had to learn how to play our songs again. But it helps because in my little subterranean sanctuary, because I can't say man cave. That's always sounded insulting and pejorative to me. The study. I like to call it the study. I mean, why can't people just have a study anymore? Why do I have to get all fucking brutish and anthropomorphic? But I've got like my drum kit, then I've got my son. He's got his little version of his drum kit right in front. So we just go out and just make noise, which is fun and
That's cool.
cathartic.
I was actually supposed to be at an In This Moment concert in Cherokee at the casino last week of March, I believe, I think it's March 27th. I don't know if you are a fan of In This Moment or not, but
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Oh, she's an awesome singer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, her band's awesome. But either way, I was supposed to be there, and they canceled it along with everything else. And I'm sitting here going, I'm ready. I'm wondering when they're going to start booking shows again and allowing that to happen, because I'm looking forward to that one.
Well, some places, and I've seen stuff like Dropkicks did it on St. Patty's Day, but I mean, live streamed it. I think as far as I know, like it was one of the most popularly watched live stream concerts. But I mean, set up, full light show, everything else I did, like it was like 2.5 hour show.
Wow.
I mean, they fucking played everything. Like shipping up to Boston was like 37 minutes long. It was like Inagata Davida, and it was fucking brilliant, like 20-minute bagpipe solo. But I mean, there's and I know like Mary Prankster, I think, is doing one on Friday, just live streaming shows. So I mean, basically, they open up the venue, go and set up the lights and stuff like that. Artist band or whatever sets up on stage and then just plays the whole set. So it's like you don't have that audience interaction. You don't have that direct, immediate connection, but at least it's something. I mean, it's a little something to have a connection with someone else in the outside world further than 6 feet away.
Right.
So,
Still works to an extent.
yeah, I mean, it's something. It's better than nothing.
Seen a lot of the DJ guys doing that stuff too, doing the live streaming.
Yeah.
Which is cool, but I guess it's a good way for them to rehearse too. It's good practice.
Yeah, well, so it keeps the chops. I mean, I've been doing I've done it like 3 or 4 times now. Facebook live video. I think I'm calling it Diablo After Dark now. Cause I always wanted my own late night cable access talk show. And people are like, well, just do it on YouTube. It was like, no, I want the late night. I want the cable access studio with like the uncomfortable chairs, the poking the ass, and the shitty fern. And like, I want all that stuff, So I've kind of been doing that, like again in my study after my boy goes down, kind of babbling for an hour, and people keep coming back. I'm like, holy shit! But I think it's. I mean, I people find me entertaining. I'm
It's
either
self-promotion. So,
yeah, well, I'm either funny or funny looking. Sometimes I can do both at the same time. But yeah, just kind of babbling and talking to people and stuff like that. I think it's just, sort of why I got into filmmaking to begin with. I mean, it gives 5 of my friends, 20 people, strangers, watch what I like, just a chance to escape, to not think about either how fucked up the world is outside or how fucked up the world is inside. I mean, just to be able to not have to think for a little while, or just to laugh or to giggle. Because I mean, everyone's scared right now, and everyone should be scared. But it's like if we would just stop being fucking monkeys and start thinking, we could get past this, and then we could deal with the next apocalypse in 5 months or 5 years.
Just wear a mask when you're out in public.
Yeah, stop touching people. Well, that's really what stop. I've always I haven't been a big touchy feely. Like, don't
just stay away from people.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, and now it's okay to tell
Don't
people
shake
to
hands.
fuck off. Like, fuck off. One of the things I really, really hope is once all this quarantine shit dies down, when the world where we can go out again. Like, I'm very curious. I want to be able to go to a bar, and I'm very curious just to see the bar. Like, are people going to be grateful? Like, once this is lifted and you can go to a bar and drink again, like, are people going to be that grateful to where people will actively, like, I mean, I want to walk into a bar and see people talking to each other. I don't want to see a fucking face buried in a fucking phone. And I know we'll go back to that. So I'm hoping maybe it'll be at least like 2 or 3 weeks of people actively engaging and happy to be around other people and being appreciative and being grateful for that chance. Yeah. Instead of just being like, logging in and taking food porn pictures and giving shitty Yelp reviews or whatever, or trolling shit on Amazon. And stop pirating fucking Stop pirating indie movies especially. Tired of seeing that shit pop up. Those indie filmmakers work really fucking hard and you're pirating their shit. Stop it, trolls. Sorry, that was my little soapbox I had to jump onto. Well, there's one, like, it popped up on Facebook. It's like DVD Lady or something. Some site that's selling DVDs of all these fucking films. And they're like, you're just seeing this massive list of indie filmmakers who own that content. And they're like, No. So I mean, it's like they're just fucking pirating indie films.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. I know the ideas, the content out there is obviously brilliant because Hollywood has no idea about it because they've got their own head up their cosmetically altered ass. But yeah, just don't pirate fucking indie stuff. We don't have any fucking money anyway. Why steal from pirates? That never ends well. Don't you remember TV? We're gonna come after you with quicksand.
I think most media is going to be free in the next decade anyway. I think eventually it'll be all subsidized by marketing.
Probably, or I mean, everything is all.
Which is fine. I think that'll allow I think it may be cleaner that way. For us,
or it's going to come
for the-
back because I mean
for the
everything
artists.
is segmented now. I mean every channel. I keep looking at your logo. I'm like, hey, I know those guys. Oh wow. Everything has HBO streaming. HBO. Every channel has their own subscription-based streaming service, and then it's fucking maddening. I mean, between your Disney Plus subscription, your Netflix, your Amazon, your Hulu, your this, your that, your this, that, and the other. And then I mean, it'll probably be maybe like 5 or 10 years. Someone's going to have the brilliant idea. It's like, what if we aggregated all of those channels into one source? Which is what cable was.
Right,
So like,
yeah,
it's going to come back again. Someone's like, if only there was one place we could go to watch TV and movies, which is
I hope
what
it goes-
Netflix started off, or what Blockbuster
Yeah.
Video used to be,
I hope it goes the way of YouTube, where you have the option to watch some ads and get free content, or you could buy a subscription to it and get, no ads.
See, I wanted to go the other way, man. I want to go back to the fucking video store. I want like people to have to show up and like pick up. Like I want you to have to go and you have to get a copy of a video and you can't because some shitty fucking person walked in 5 minutes before you and got it. So you got to settle for like extra, which isn't really that bad of a film, but
Those were good memories.
those
Yeah.
are. But yeah, I mean, like
That was
walking
fun.
like and you had to get the tag or you had to take the case. There's like I wanted to go back the other way. And there was a really cool. We were at the Alamo Draft House in Raleigh a few months ago. Wolfman's Got Nards, which is a brilliant fucking documentary about Monster Squad and the enormous resurgence that enjoyed. But at the Alamo Draft House, I think it's called Video Vortex. So Alamo Draft House, an amazing fucking venue anyway, and I think there's like 7 or 8 screens there. But there's this huge, massive fucking video store where, I mean, you can rent VCRs if you don't have one. But they've got shit like on fucking VHS. I think there was a little bit of DVD. Like I think they had fucking laser discs there.
Wow.
They had everything. So I mean, it was like walking back into
There's definitely a market for nostalgia. Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, I guess the hipsters and millennials help that to a certain degree, but I think it's also to be just as sort of our age, and I'm probably fucking older than. Well, I don't know if I'm older than him, but like I'm fucking old. But it's like I think it's sort of that research, and I think now, especially within the digital age, is making certain things better, but you're starting to see that sort of anachronistic embrace of technology, and again, sort of making a comeback, I guess.
Yeah, people in our generation, we want to go back and have those memories of things that we experienced as a child or young adult.
It's like I taught my son to play lawn darts, and I mean like the real fucking lawn darts that have metal, not that bullshit plastic pansy shit that Nerf sells now.
But I embrace the technology though. I mean, I think
it's good and bad. You can't overly embrace it.
it gives you more options.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, and I think and there's 8 billion people on the planet, so you can create unlimited content and no one's ever going to see it all.
But
it'll all get seen.
But we still can't fucking automate turn signals on cars. Now what's up with that?
Pretty soon.
No, but come on, dude. Like they have automated every single mindless fucking vehicular motor function. Like, don't know how to parallel park, the car will do it for you. Don't look, don't worry about, go ahead and like snort a line while you're checking in on fucking Instagram. The car will stay in the lane for you. They've automated everything, but they can't make it to where like if you start to turn this way, the little fucking blinky thing goes binky binky. They can't do that.
Now the Teslas have automated turn signals. The new Teslas, they're on autopilot. It'll actually pass someone for you. It'll signal and switch lanes, pass them a signal and get back in the lane.
That's like one brand. Like
So one brand.
It needs to be mandated. All cars. need to have
5
automated
years.
turn signals.
5 years they'll all be doing
Well,
that.
see, once the quarantine
Yeah.
lifts, I'm going to initiate the tacos for turn signals program. So it's like, you use your turn signal, you get a free taco, and like it'll show up on your license. Like, so I think I'd do anything for a taco. So I mean, maybe that's the way to incentivize the masses. Just
So it's clowns and turn signals.
yeah, and vanity plates. I fucking hate vanity plates too.
That's funny. On a side note, I've got a ping pong table in there full of DVDs. I'm talking about like collection of DVDs.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna give them to my crew and then donate the rest of. But as I was getting them out, laying them all out. I was like, oh, this is really good. Oh, this is really good. Oh,
Like, I'm gonna keep this one.
I remember when I watched this one, and so
Put them all back. Put them all back.
Yeah, I think
There's like 2 shitty DVDs out there. It's like, that's all I had. Sorry, guys.
yeah, I think like 95% I'm gonna have to keep, and the other 5% I'm trying to figure out who bought those and put those in my stash. But I think that's
Those weird gift items. You're like, what? Like you would never buy that for yourself.
Yeah, I would never do this. So I was literally, my dad called me back. He's like, yeah, what'd you need? I was like, oh, I had some stuff I was thinking about donating, but I'm just not sure now. I'm just not sure. So there's the nostalgia of it. And Neil had made a comment. Some of those things you guys were talking about earlier, right? It brings you back to a specific time in your life, right? And some of those movies, like that's what it is for me. I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, I remember when I watched this the first time.
Oh yeah.
And there's certain movies I've watched.
Music memory or like movie memory is kind of what I call it.
Yeah.
Well, I remember the first time I saw Felissa Rose when I checked you out at Sleepaway Camp in 1984.
Oh, wow.
From VHS Classics was the name of the video store. 148 was my membership number. I don't remember shit from high school or college math. I remember my video store member, like the very first membership number I had.
I remember seeing the cover of that movie in the video store when I was a kid.
Because I had the shitty note, like the note was hanging off the blood. So like, dear mother, or like, hello mother, hello father. But that to me, Sleepaway Camp still has one of the best horror. You've seen it, right? We've all seen it.
Yeah.
Has one of the best horror movie endings to this day because you're just like, yeah, it's campy, it's campy, campy and cheesy, and then you get to the end, and it's like, holy fuck! It's like there's a dong. Spoilers. Dong. But like watching that and watching it over and over and over again. Judith O'Dea, first time I saw Night of the Living Dead, it's like, they're coming to get you, Barbara. I'm like, oh, so, and you're watching these movies and then being able to work with the people that we did for Kill Giggles. Like, I mean, it was just, it was amazing. It was amazing. If I could have gotten Mark Singer from Beastmaster and Kill Giggles, like, I would probably just retire now. I'd be like, fuck it, I'm done.
You won.
Yeah, so maybe, or that could be another project. Maybe Sci-Fi Channel will do a shot-by-shot remake of Beastmaster. I think Mark Singer, Rip Torn's dead though, isn't he? Shit. We'll have to CG in. It'll be like Ghost Rip Torn or something like the Ghost of Rip Torn.
Well, the CGI is so good now. If you have the money, you can.
Yeah.
You can bring it back.
We can get around it. Like, we could actually have like a real black. We could make the tiger black instead of spray painting tigers black like they did for the movie. It's like, what's the worst that could happen? Spoiler: 6 months after production, they all died.
Oh man.
They didn't care back then.
You're not supposed to spray paint tigers
or any animal.
Well, there's a lot of I guess that's fair. Shouldn't spray paint animals in general. No, there's a whole.
They spray painted me before though.
This is
to
true.
cover my tattoos. Literal paint.
We used to do that. We did that with Gavin, the guy from the Hot Pink Jesus. We had when we were running around at conventions and festivals. We actually had a life-size guy. I mean, full body paint, Pink Jesus outfit. Gavin Glass, amazingly beautiful fellow, very talented. He has the most complex, meticulously crafted facial hair I've ever seen. Like it's like a fucking Escher painting in his beard. It's crazy. But yeah, we would take him around and have Hot Pink Jesus, and people would just lose their shit. Most often in good ways. Like there was a little family at Con Carolinas. We were outside running around. This is, Con Carolina is a massive multi-fandom con. So I mean, you've got fucking stormtroopers and orcs and goblins and Star Wars nerds of every type and manner and ilk running around. And people would still freak out and run up and have their pictures taken with Hot Pink Jesus. And I think some family was having like their daughter's quinceañera there, and they run up and shove her in front of like the photo, so she's like crying because she doesn't want to stand next to Pink Jesus, and it was just a fucking very surreal experience. But yeah, that was a good time. So we did that. We got that going for us, which is nice. But yeah, the first time, I mean, movie memory. I mean, there's certain things I can just say, and there are certain homages and Kill Giggles, things that we play very specifically. Yeah, it's just sort of saying thank you to the movies that got me through when I was socially isolated and distant as a kid and didn't know any better.
Yeah, I understand that. I can relate. Yeah.
Cool. I mean, I'm definitely influenced. Like reading something really good or watching something really good, it motivates me to make something too. And I think that's a common thread that maybe we share. Mm-hmm. It's like that's kind of makes you want to do it. I remember being, it's like 3 or 4 years ago, just really sick, but I finally started reading some H.P. Lovecraft, and then I started writing a screenplay. I'm not done with it. I'm about page 75, but still, I had that wave of work that came from it, and it's just really neat how that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah, you never ever know where you're going to find inspiration or when a muse is going to strike. So, I mean, it could be for night. I'm thoroughly convinced. I've written entire columns about it. It's like once you make a movie, I mean, you never go through life the same way. I mean, you can't watch anything on TV or, I mean, without dissecting it. You can't watch a movie without dissecting it. You can't drive down a fucking road without figuring out where you'd put the camera, where the killer is going to be, like what's going to happen. I mean, walking to a new restaurant, it's like, oh, I want to film here. And that might give you an idea for, or give you an idea that launches an entirely separate screenplay or something like that.
Yeah.
Like you never know. And I think that's one of the things I'm truly appreciative about being a filmmaker is it's just, yeah, I mean, I can never view the world the same way. Like
Well,
I should write a book
innovation.
about the filmmaker's guide to the real world instead of like the real world guide to filmmaking, you know?
Yeah. Well, all innovation is caused by the sharing of information and ideas.
Mm-hmm.
It's all linked somehow.
I would concur, sir.
Man, we're down this path, and I'm sitting here going, I'm like, it's slightly overwhelming just to see and hear all the things that you've done in such a short period of time, and then you look at it and you go, hey, do you ever think about what you're going to create, what's yet to come? Not just like the next year, but where do you think like 5-10 years from now? Do you think out that far, like I'm going to do this?
I mean, sometimes like it'd be cool, especially. I mean, if I could make money and pay bills, like take care of my family with filmmaking, that would be amazing. But
I'm sure you can.
Well, I mean, I'm sure I could, but it's like, I mean, I work for the state now, so I mean, I've got like the nice, like, I mean, I've got insurance and like everyone has teeth, and I've got all the good pros. I'm very lucky. I'm a very grateful boy for that, for sure. But I mean, like it would be great just to be able to not have, to not have to have that 9 to 5 to go and just spend time making movies too. But it's also, I'm to the point now where it's like I don't want to be away from my son or my wife that long either. So it's hard,
Yeah.
Like I'd love to be able to take off somewhere and say, she's already informed me that the first film I shoot overseas, like they're coming anyway. So I'm like, oh, okay, well that won't be as bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely want to be able to do. I want to be able to, and that's I think all the films I make is just it's my legacy for my son. I mean, everything.
Yeah.
You can't unmake any of that stuff, and I want him to be proud of me. He says he is. He says he's my #1 fan.
He probably is.
Yeah,
I
sure.
think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I do love that boy. I think he's fond of me. But yeah, I don't know. I hope I'm still doing it. Like it would be fantastic to be able to just be, I mean, yeah, doing stuff on Shudder or Sci-Fi or something like that, or maybe making that bigger connection to where we're doing theatrical releases or something like that. Like it's and maybe between all the advent of the technologies changing the way that's happening, maybe drive-in theaters are going to make a comeback. I would love to have a drive-in theater film festival. Who out there wants to help me pull that off?
Wouldn't that'd be fun?
That would be
That'd
awesome.
be amazing. So yeah, I mean, I don't know.
You've said a few things that he and I are thinking about.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. I was thinking, oh yeah.
You said the pizza place.
Yeah. The mental note of some of
The
these things.
drive-in theaters.
Oh, the drive-in theater film festival. There's a whole idea. I've got a business plan prepared for Max Diablo's Tits and Taco Rama, Topless Taco Bar, because there is not one single problem in the world, well, aside from coronavirus. But I can even make that a little bit better too. I can solve anything with the cutting and clever use of tits and/or tacos. So again, something I've written entire columns about. It factors heavily into the Hot Pink Jesus trilogy. But yeah. So I mean, I've got the business plans out there. We're just looking for the entrepreneurial spirit and probably some zoning laws. But we'll work on it. I'm just the idea guy. I'm not the contracts guy.
Planning and zoning, we can get past that.
Yeah,
too.
no,
Yeah.
yeah.
We deal with that all the time.
Always a reach around for the P&Z folks.
On a side note, too, one of the things, the phenomenon that you're talking about, that you're describing, is the golden handcuffs. You're talking about the career, right? You're fed, you're clothed, everybody's got their teeth, your bills are paid, right? That's the golden handcuffs, man. That's, as an entrepreneur, as a business person, that's the trap
Right.
for employees,
Yeah.
right? And I don't mean that to be derogatory. It's literally like we tell our own people, as long as you're part of my business plan, in some level, you're always just going to be a number, right? You factor into that. And you're only going to be able to make so much for that position, no matter how much value you bring. But if I can get them to think differently, I would rather you be a partner and make $1 million a year with me. I can't pay you $1 million a year as an employee.
Yeah.
Yes.
And but so what ends up happening is the golden handcuffs to me is fear of loss of what you've got, and you get JOB is just over broke, so you get just enough to get by, right?
Yeah.
To keep the roof over the head, keep the car, and keep the bills paid, and teeth in your mouth, and all that good jazz, right? Food in your belly, and it stops some of that creative process that you might go into. For me, it was business. For you guys, obviously, it's your creative outlets. But that would be the challenge is
Snapping those fuckers off.
Yeah, man. when it's time, you just break through them, man.
Yeah.
You use them. You use the golden handcuffs while you need them, and then when it gets time, you just got to break away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because I went through that, I lost everything, and I had to work. I'm not going to say where, but I had to go to work somewhere, and it was soul crushing for 8 months. But my plan was, I got there. I was living during an 18-month period. I was living in my parents' garage.
It was a high-paying job.
It was. It was a
a job.
Yeah, it was a high-paying job.
Yeah.
But still a job. And the problem became.
But you had that bitchin' garage apartment though.
Oh man, my parents my mom hates the story. My parents basically closed in what they call a 2-car garage. It's more like a 1.5-car garage, to be honest with you. You can't fit 2 cars in there, so you can't call it that, Mom. So it's a 1.5-car garage with a window unit, closed in, concrete floors, and literally out of my lake house, I lost everything. But out of the lake house, the one thing I get to keep, one of my younger brothers, Mitchell, cut out. Theoretically, Mitchell did it. Cut out all the carpet, and we just laid it on top of the concrete in the garage, literally, just so that we weren't walking on concrete. And
Right.
the furniture I was able to keep went on top of that carpet that was just laid there. And that's where we lived for 18 months, and 8 of those 18 months, I had to go get a job somewhere, a very high-paying job, but it was soul-crushing. But
Yeah.
let me tell you what happened, this crazy thing. At the end, the opportunities were there, the signs were there. I came in, this was March, my first day back to the real world for me was March 18th, 2016. So I just hit 4 years. And it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard to walk away from that job. It was hard. It was probably one of the hardest things I've had to do, to walk away from what I felt like was a security blanket, right?
Right.
And then for a little while, I had been brainwashed. You just get brainwashed with,
We just fall into a routine. Yeah.
yeah, man, you just get there. And so it took me probably a good 6 months to just get out of that funk, like out of that employee mentality that starts to happen.
Tried to refine your niche
Yeah,
too.
man,
you
you
like
gotta-
you kind of lost it,
Yeah, you just got to figure out who you are and how you move forward,
and
and
how things have changed.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
yeah, it was crazy, but I don't ever want to go back and do that again.
Yeah.
Because the golden handcuffs are strong, man. It's hard to walk away. I'm serious, man.
No, it's
I
very
feel like
true,
if
yeah.
you have to, the next time back, they may be even stronger. Maybe there's something to that.
Yeah.
So I don't want
Yeah.
to do it again.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Rule number 1, don't lose money. Rule number 2, read number 1 again. So, but anyway,
And never put the handcuffs on.
yeah, don't ever put the handcuffs on. Once you get them off, I'm all
Yeah.
about it, man. Do your hustle, grind.
You have to take them off the right time.
Yeah, it's got to be the right
Yeah.
time, because if not, you're definitely putting them back on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But with your experience so far, and then you've got this film that you've produced, and when does it come out?
Well, the world premiere is tentatively scheduled for the Crimson Screen Horror Film Festival, which
I
is
had
May.
a screenplay that placed in that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we've been there
Yeah.
the last 4 years now. Amazing festival. Tommy and Robbie, the gentlemen that run it, are just absolutely amazing. But it's May 22nd. Well, May 23rd is the date it's supposed to premiere. Saturday night at 8:30 p.m.
Okay.
So that's theoretically.
Well, hopefully you
yeah.
can still do that.
I know.
They may do that online though. They may do like a
Yeah,
broadcast.
I've seen some festivals, thinking about
Yeah.
trying to do that. So it's curious to see how some of the live events are tackling that transition. So I hope it happens. I
So
really do.
is it pretty much going to be in the festival circuit all year this year, and then it will come out next year?
Probably, yeah. Well, and everything is just sort of up in the air with timelines and stuff right now. The world the way it is. Probably do the festival circuit for a little while, but I know we've got our distributors who are really, really anxious to be able to take it to, AFM and EFM.
Which is in October, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think October, November. And we're going after everybody. I mean, Amazon, Hulu, Netflix, Shudder. I mean, everyone. So they really want to be able to get it out to a worldwide audience. So we'll do festivals because there are a lot of film festivals. We certainly wouldn't be to the point we're at. Have the stature, whatever it is that we do have, our indie street cred, without a lot of film festivals.
Right,
Just giving
yeah.
us a chance to be able to screen one year and then, may get nominated for something, might win something the next year, but to be able to come back and to see those friends and to build those relationships and to sort of, to be one of, just to be one of the contributing filmmakers to making those festivals and film scenes better. There's a lot of places we owe a lot of debt to. So we want to be able to take Kill Giggles back because we've been there for the past 3, 4, or 5 years with our various short films, but to be able to take Kill Giggles back and really show them just the exponential leap we've made in terms of storytelling and production values and everything else like that.
Well, Kill Giggles may end up being the saw that cuts off the handcuffs.
That would be nice. That would be nice too. But and again, I mean, even the golden handcuffs I'm wearing, I mean, they're fuzzy handcuffs. They're more like love cuffs. They lock, but I mean, you can twist the wrist a little bit. But I mean, the 9 to 5. The 9 to 5 jive that I've got, I mean the place that I work at. I don't go into specifics, but I mean I'm very, very lucky because I mean I've got the supervisor I've got is just an amazing fellow. But I've always enjoyed a tremendous amount of flexibility. I mean last year they let me take off for 4 weeks and shoot a movie. I was like, well, I'm going to be gone for like a month. My boss was like, oh, where are you going? Greensboro, Jamestown, High Point, Yadkinville, Eden, Asheboro. We filmed a lot in Asheboro. So,
That's where we grew up at.
Yeah, we did a lot of filming in Asheboro. The Sunset Theater was a very cool place.
That's a cool place.
Well, even just the Asheboro. I have to say, if anyone in Asheboro is listening, thank you so much. Was it Lieutenant Eddie Powell? Asheboro Police was one of our assigned city contacts. I mean, Asheboro really went out of the way for a fledgling independent film crew. I mean, blocking off streets, and we had a tremendous amount of support, from residents and city government alike. So I'm very, very thankful for Asheboro. But yeah, I took off work for a month to shoot a film, and then I had to go back to work. And people were like, "What were you doing?" I was like, "I was shooting a movie," and they're like, "Oh." So I try and keep that work and play separate. It doesn't really work out well with social networking because I don't hide behind anything. Everything is public and visible, and I don't give a shit about hiding or keeping certain things separate. But the golden handcuffs I wear, they're like fuzz cuffs.
Well, clearly you're an artist though, and you should be doing this full time. So
that would be nice. Nice. But I've been writing stories with my son. We were taking turns where it's like I'd write a line, he'd write a line, I'd write a line, he'd write. And we're almost done with our second story. The first one was what was it? Oh, Jack and Daddy in the Quest for the Infinity Sword. And then the one that we're wrapping up right now is Jack and Daddy in the Mission to Rescue the Princess of Flames. And he's already talking about, like, we should make a movie out of one of these. Like, fuck yeah, we should.
That's awesome.
Planting the seeds.
Yeah, you'll never see what happens with the quarantine. When he's asking about movie stuff, and I haven't forced him yet. I will never ever do that, but it would be rad if he wanted to get into filmmaking. That would make me happy. And the short I'm writing right now, Cub, is I had to write a short because we were shooting a bunch of promotional stuff one weekend out at Kersey Valley. Like we were shooting stuff for like Werewolf Hunter, or we were shooting Werewolf Hunters, and then promotional stuff for Kill Giggles, and then one of my other brothers, Lando Bico, we were shooting some promotional stuff for a zombie fried chicken series we did for him. And my son came out, and I was all covered in blood. We had like fried chicken for guns. It was a very fun day. He came out and hang out and ran around and said, because Kersey Valley is just a cool place to hang out anyway. And we were getting ready to go shoot the werewolf stuff, and him and my boy and my wife were getting ready to leave. And I was walking down. He's like, well, I want to go with you. I was like, we got to go shoot the werewolf movie. He's like, well, I'm going to be the werewolf. I'm like, no, baby boy, we've already got like prosthetics and there's fangs. And yeah, so then he started making, the bottom lip came out. He started making sad face. I'm like, I will write you a werewolf script to where you can be the only werewolf, okay? He's like, and now apparently I'm doing that because he wants to impress that the girl that he's in love with at school, loves werewolves, and she wants to be a werewolf. So it's like he wants me to write a movie where he can be the werewolf so that he can tell her and show her the movie. I'm like, I'm completely okay with that. I'm like, I've done far worse things for love. So I'm gonna make him a star too. Well, he already is a star. He's a beautiful boy. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know where I'll be 5-10 years. Hopefully happier, probably fatter.
Yeah.
Whatever. If I still have hair, I didn't think I would have hair at this point. I'm a 44-year-old with a mohawk. It's kind of weird.
Hey, it's badass though, man.
It's more of a mohawklet at this point because today it was the day after we got done filming. I had very long hair for a long time and kind of had a long strip for that. And then the day after filming, I went to fucking master cuts. I'm like, shave it. I was tired of ponytails. I was tired of fucking hair in July in North Carolina. So I buzzed my entire head. And then I was like, I want a mohawk. So yeah, it's been about almost a year now. Just trying weird things. And then Jesse showed up on set with a mohawk, and his looked way cooler than mine. Now he's rocking that stash.
Yeah, that stash. It came out of nowhere, man.
It did. He paid me off. I was like, holy shit. I was in the car with him for like 2 minutes before I looked over. I was like, oh, wow. It's hard to pull it off if you're not in either the porn or the civil service industry.
It does have an 80s porn,
or fireman.
Yeah, it's definitely got it's definitely the police officer.
I don't know. I'm thinking like high school gym coach.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's gonna make me do like squat thrusts before I go home. I'm like, oh man.
Creepy stalker.
Yeah. Daniel, that's another lap. Keep talking. It's another lap.
Actually, one of my high school gym coaches had a mustache.
Yeah,
too.
man, mine too. I wish I could remember his name right now. That fucker made me run so many laps. You'd think I'd be skinnier. I was mouthy. Go figure. I talked a lot too.
Yeah, I've never had that problem.
Yeah, right. But he would make me run. Another lap, Daniel. Oh, goddamn.
You want another Saturday? Oh, crush, you just got one more. Well, I'm free the Saturday after that. Beyond that, I'm going to have to check my calendar. Good, because it'll be filled. I'm just going to keep quoting John Hughes movies, so I'll stop. 2 months, mister. Got you for 2 months.
Oh, you know what do you? I think you're gonna have to go back to the Mohawk though. I got to see what this looks like.
It might come back one day.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm gonna have to check that out. At least show me some pictures. I'm gonna have to look.
There's a bunch of kill giggles. Like when we're doing it, I had a Mohawk the whole time, and then
my favorite moment, the last day of filming, because I've never made any pretense to be a smart man. And I think I clearly exhibited that. The last day of a 19-day film shoot, we had like a 16-hour day of filming. These headphones are messing with my head. But we were at our first location today, which was Crafted, the Art of the Taco in Winston-Salem, which is an amazing place. Because we were shooting like we were going from Crafted to the Ramcat and sort of basically back and forth. And we were walking around. I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off, and Thorin, my AD, is doing his best to keep me calm, and I'm like smoking 17 cigarettes all at one time. And I didn't know where Jesse was, and it seemed kind of weird. But I was talking with Thorin. We were trying to get everybody and trying to get actors in place. And I go back into the restaurant, and Jesse's standing there by the gym, and I'm turning around doing this and doing this and doing this. And then I turn around, and he's in full fucking clown makeup. I do not like the clowns. But yeah, that was apparently his master plan, was that he had Ms. Marisol Feliciano Cotton, our brilliant makeup and hair. And she put him in full clown makeup. And then I came in, I turned around, I was like, it's even, we have a feature-length behind-the-scenes documentary that we had a documentary crew on set the whole time. Aiden Ford and Catherine Holmes, brilliant, beautiful people. But that moment, yeah, that's towards the tail end of the documentary where you just see me start shitting kittens on camera. I'm like, fuck, and screaming and all sorts of crazy stuff like that, because Jesse had he went above and beyond his cinematographer duties just to scare the shit out of me in front of all my cast and crew, and it turned out brilliantly. So.
Awesome.
But he had a mohawk and clown makeup, so that was where that story was going.
Sounds like a fan of the Insane Clown Posse.
Yeah, I think I've heard like 10 seconds of his stuff, and it's like, no, it's not for me.
Not for me either.
Well, so the whole clown thing, and like the rap rock thing, I was like, Run DMC and Aerosmith already did that. Like, why do I want to listen to this again? And then apparently there's a whole thing, and yeah, I'm sure they're nice blokes, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know.
They might be complete dickholes.
I think Eminem called them bitches or something. Didn't Eminem and Insane Clown Posse have a beef?
I don't know.
I think so.
I don't know. Remember, like when like Axl Rose and Vince Neil were gonna kick each other's ass, and now they look like old happy lesbians that shop at the Home Depot on Sunday together, which is great. I mean, but yeah, like Axl Rose looks like Benny Hill now, and I mean Vince Neil gets winded putting on tight on his headband. I'm just like, that poor guy.
Oh man.
Mick Mars has been dead for 27 years, but no one's told him. Oh. The good old days, the good old days.
Well, do you want to promote any of your social media stuff for everyone so they can look you up and follow you?
Our CB radio handle is ClownKiller666. That's all we've got. We only do CB radio nowadays. It's, we've got there's mad1films.com, there's killgiggles.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter /Mad1Films. Instagram /the Mad1Films, because I forgot my original fucking password and Instagram wouldn't let me back in, so I was like, fuck 'em! So I started the Mad1Films, because that little tiny article makes all the difference, I think. And we're on Vimeo somewhere. But yeah, I mean, between the websites and the social media, that's where you can kind of find it. We're always very, very good and adamant about posting screening details or little news and tidbits and stuff like that as things come up. So I mean, between the website and the social media is probably the best place to find out for when we can go outside again, all the fun screening opportunities we have, because we're going to have a lot of screenings, especially around the Triad. Excuse me. Like I know we're going to have a screening at the Sunset Theater in Asheboro just because we filmed there 2 days, 2.5, 3 days.
That's cool.
We want to film there. We're going to have something. We were trying to work up something with the Red Cinema and Battleground, but then the world went tits up and nobody wanted to go to a movie anymore.
Yeah.
So we're going to figure something out. So once we can all go outside and play and drink beer again. Or rum, whatever. I don't judge. whiskey, wine. I'm not watching that Tiger King show though. I'm not watching that shit. Like I'm not gonna.
I've been putting it off.
That's what I really
I'm
wanted
really
to say.
tempted
Is like I don't like. I mean, there's no
I need to check it
Siegfried,
out.
there's no Roy, there's no Tigger. I've already seen a show about a gay sex death cult obsessed with tigers. It was called Thundercats. It was great. I
love
need
Thundercats.
To,
I did
I don't need to see it
Thundercats.
again. You know, I mean, I grew up in the back roads of a small town in Missouri, and I left that.
I didn't
part of
understand the,
the country.
subtext of Thundercats when I was a kid, though.
Makes a whole lot more sense now. You're like, oh, like his sword keeps growing. You're like, oh, the eye of Thundara. Mum-Ra was fucked up. Yeah, and there's a new version of Thundercats on now, which is just like, I don't know. My son really likes it. I can't get into it, but it's like the Teen Titans Go did a really funny spin-off on like how older people don't like the younger things that are coming back. You're not supposed to. But yeah, so I haven't watched Tiger King. I'm not gonna. You can't make me. Internet's. Watch Kill Giggles, not Tiger King.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. Watch
You know,
Google.
what we
Kill
should try to
Giggles,
do
not
is maybe with your permission, maybe we can take like a 15 seconds of a trailer or something and do like a short, Jesse, like part of this podcast, but do a short and throw it in and do like a little, just a teaser for Kill Giggles.
Yeah, whatever you guys want. Like, yeah, I've got. Yeah. I think Jesse's probably got all the files anyway.
Yeah, we could pick like a little piece, and then maybe if there's some information,
One of our clips, yeah.
yeah, one of the clips, and maybe in the information below, we can just list some of the stuff like the upcoming dates and stuff. That way, if people want to check it out, we can look below.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, Jason, it was a pleasure having you on, man.
Thanks. I wish we could shake hands or
Oh,
high
yeah,
five or
yeah,
something.
air fives,
Woo,
man.
air fives. Air five. Mr. Jesse over there. Internets. Here we go. But no, yeah, this has been amazing. It's a cool setup.
Thanks, dude.
I love what you guys are doing with it. So I hope, we'll do everything we can to blast this and get it out to the masses and let them know about the creative businessmen. So
Awesome.
And
Definitely.
everybody remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the podcast.
Definitely turn on your notifications.
That too.
send nudes.
Yeah,
Sure.
certain ones. Just kidding, honey. Just kidding.
We'll save that for the topless taco bar.
Yeah. See you guys.
Later, man.
All right.